Hello, my name is Alex Garcia, and I'm a professional educator and musician in the Orlando, Florida area. So today I was asked to film a testimonial for DeJacques music straps. A little bit of background about myself as a performer, an educator. So I play with a reggae band called the Trees of Life. We perform in the Central Florida area, although we've played as far down south as the Keys and Tampa. I also play with a video game music cover band on YouTube, which got its main startup on YouTube, but is now doing live gigs in Jacksonville. I also mix audio for them. They're called the Limit Breakers. And I'm also in a jam band called Hand Me Down Rhythm, which is just in its startup phases. As well as I've performed with Southern Winds on several occasions, which is a professional wind ensemble in the Orlando area, and a startup version of that called Music to My Mind. So a little bit about myself. Mainly, I've kind of switched between all four saxophones. Alto is my main one, but most of these gigs I'm playing bari, tenor, or soprano. As an educator, I give private lessons on flute, clarinet, guitar, percussion, and saxophone currently. So I'm a busy player. And I reached out to DeJacques music straps mainly because I'm a big fan of Bob Reynolds, who is one of the saxophone players for Snarky Puppy. And in looking around at what he used, and I saw this very white neck strap, okay, which really drew my attention. I learned that these were DeJacques music straps. So I sent an email to their customer service and was reached out to by a gentleman named Terry. So after some email back and forth, we got on a phone call and talked for at least an hour. It was probably closer to an hour and a half, to be honest, because I was driving back from a gig that night, actually. And Terry was nothing short of excited, passionate, and really, really helpful when it came to figuring out what my next step should be in terms of a neck strap. In addition, he had already done his research on me, just from sending out an email. I guess he looked up my Facebook and a couple other things. So he knew that I was an educator and a performer with a couple groups, which was really, really impressive, and it really does mean a lot to me. I can't thank you enough, Terry, that you took the time to do that. It means so much. After talking and saying that, since I play in a variety of situations, I wanted a variety of these straps, Terry was nice enough to hook me up with an order of 4 of them, and then asked me to do this testimonial after I had tried them. So today, that's what I'm here to do. I've had these neck straps for about 3-ish months, maybe 4, and I'm super, super impressed with them. So I'm really excited to get to share with you all that may be watching or considering getting these, my experiences with them and why I think they're a great investment. So first of all, style. I mean, this one right away tells you what's going on. Okay, this is the white model, and this is what they call a comfort model. So they use a different, softer fabric here, and I'll get to a little bit more on that in a minute. But I'm wearing a dark shirt, and you can see how much this really stands out. This is really, really cool. Anytime I've wanted to look really flashy at a gig, I've used this, and it has not disappointed. I feel just like in the zone as a performer. It's really nice, or it's an extra added thing, In addition, this is a tenor length strap, and it's almost all the way fully extended. And let me, I guess, kind of zoom in a little bit on this. So this is like a white leather. It's kind of hard to see from the camera, but this is an actual leather, and these are like brass rivets, which have like kind of browned really nicely. I've used this on at least 5 gigs, and it hasn't yellowed, which I was actually pretty afraid of, and had mentioned it when I was initially going to buy the strap. But Terry assured me that it would not. And even if it does over time, I feel really comfy with getting it cleaned, doing some kind of cleanup to it to get it back to where it was. It's got a really comfy paracord, or really sturdy paracord here. This does not slip, which was huge for me. I was using some other neck straps that were, especially on tenor, I noticed, slipping quite a bit. And that really, really bugged me, because on stage to keep having to pull the neck strap up was so annoying. Like in the middle of playing or in, any break I could get. That habit is now gone with these, which I'm super, super happy to say. One of the big selling points about DeJacques is this mechanism here. Okay, so it's got 2 metal hooks, as you can see, and they kind of move out of the way as you push something in. Okay, they did it with my finger. You can kind of hear it. Okay, and then there's a plunger down here. On the other ones, it's black, so it's a little bit easier to see. But you push on that, and then it opens these from the with the neck strap ring still in it. And then I tend to lift up, like kind of toward me like this. It helps take it off a lot easier. It's a bit of a learning process with this, but I will say one of the great things about this strap is that it's super, super easy to flip between them, or flip between instruments, I guess I should say, because of this. It's super instant that you can take things off and put them back on once you get the process down. The lengths on these are great. I'm not really sure how they measure these, but they do a fantastic job. This is my tenor. For reference, I guess if it matters, I'm using a Yamaha Custom Z2 tenor sax. I love this thing, and I've used it on all the aforementioned gigs and situations where I've been playing. At full length, or close to full length, I can hold this directly out in front of me, which is great because I've played with saxophone straps that are like just too long or too short one way or the other, and this does not have that problem. It sits straight out in front of me, right where I need it to be. Okay, super, super love this thing. And again, the white just kind of takes it to a whole new level. It's very comfortable. This fabric is super, super soft. It doesn't dig in or feel abrasive on your neck at all. And I couldn't be happier with this one. This is great. I'm looking forward to getting to use this one a lot more than I currently have. Like I mentioned, I asked for 4 different kinds to kind of see how they worked with all the different saxes. Today, I just kind of put out my tenor and soprano, which are the ones I mainly use for the reggae band, the video game music cover band, the jam band. So these are the ones I've been playing more often. Let me show you my most road-tested strap for some comparison. So this is the black and burgundy, not comfort model, just the regular one. I love the color differential that goes on here. This is actually burgundy too. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's like a darker color, and it's super, super shiny. And it's got like some kind of like coating over it. This is non-treated fabric. Compared to the comfort model, is a little bit more abrasive, but like barely noticeably. And especially since I've used this one way, way more, it's kind of softened a little bit. So in terms of everyday gigs and lessons and stuff, I use this one the most. Every time I take the tenor out of my case, this is where it is. I lay it flat in my case, hang on, like this. Okay, look how much space it takes up, like virtually zero. Just for some context here. It takes up virtually zero space, doesn't scratch anything on the saxophone, which is huge. And like I said, it can come out. It's easy to put together. Does not slip, does not slip, does not slip, which was big, big, big for me. And once again, holds the tenor exactly where I need it to. Mechanism here. I'll show you the black plunger on there. Yeah. So you can kind of see it in there. Again, a little bit of learning process with that clasp, but so worth it. Another one I asked for, and I haven't gotten a chance to use it yet just because of situations, is the Tux model, which is really, really, really cool. So it's a white clasp, a white adjuster here, white leather at the top of a black strap with a tux. And I mean, I'm wearing dark clothing, so you can kind of see how much this stands out, like really, really well. It's super, super cool. I'm looking forward again. This is the same fabric. It's a slightly tougher fabric, but again, not uncomfortable at all. I'm looking forward to getting to use this one more for some more classical gigs when I can play a saxophone that will need it. And then lastly, this one actually has a bit of a story. So this is the burgundy, all burgundy model, and this is a comfort model. This is actually a soprano cut. I was reached out to not long ago by Hope herself, the owner of the company, saying that they noticed some people had mentioned a dye bleed happens if you get too sweaty, which in Florida, there's plenty of excuses to get sweaty outside, especially at gigs. So she reached out and said, hey, we would like to replace this for you and get you set up with the right one. They did it free of charge. I told her also that it was a little too short for me to use for my straight soprano, which is what I normally use for these jazz gigs or for the reggae band gigs. So yeah, I reached out and said, I would be happy to get a replacement for it so I can review that as well after I've used it. And can you change the length? Because it was a little short for what I needed. She said, absolutely. And they got me one as fast as they could. So awesome customer service, and reached out to by the owner nonetheless, who, again, she's great too. So this is my soprano. This is a custom EX soprano. That I normally play with a straight neck for like all the gigs I mentioned. I've also played a few gigs with the Orlando Big Band and several other jazz bands in the area. And this is not quite at full length, as you can see. There's a little bit of room, but perfect, right where I need it to be. This is, again, the comfort model, so it's a softer fabric. Really, really, really like it. And it's just classy. Like, burgundy is, with dark clothing, really, really nice. It's a nice complement to, aesthetically, to, what's going on. And again, once you get used to how this strap works, I'll show it here. So look, it's pushed in, and it's not going anywhere. I'm pulling on it pretty hard, going the other way. Okay? And then you have to kind of push in the plunger, and then you can see actually them open up a little bit, yeah? And then I lift up, and it comes right off. This is super handy for having. I use, like I said, the black and burgundy one the most. Switching between these two instruments, tenor and soprano, on stage is instant. Once you get the process down to this, it was super, super quick. And again, I feel really confident about it not going anywhere, it not falling out of the hook, it not slipping. Could not be happier with the build quality of these. And I know that when the time comes that eventually they just get worn down or gross, or they do have a defect here after a while, because I'm sure this is a mechanism that wears out, I feel really comfy being able to reach out and go, hey, I need a new one. So, just as a quick recap about these straps, they're super, super comfy in both the standard and comfort models. The comfort model does make a difference, and it's quite noticeable. Style-wise, can't be beat. They're super classy, and they have more options just besides these. These are the ones I just picked up. The white one is truly a standout, right? This is a white door, and you can see that it's maybe a little bit off from that, but not hardly any. And again, super, super comfy and standout. Really, really nice. Who is this next strap for? These also supposedly work for bassoons. I'm not a bassoon player. I don't own a bassoon to even show you, but I'm sure they work great. I trust these with my saxophones, which are a much heavier instrument, I think. And I'm sure they'll work just as great on a bassoon if you wanted to use these as a bassoon strap. Who this next strap might not be for? Marching band situation. They're a little just maybe uncomfortable for how much moving around you're going to be doing in a marching band situation. As an educator, I wouldn't really recommend that to one of my high school kids that are doing marching band. Definitely get one of the ones with a pad on it so that it's easier to use. Berry players, probably. Depends on the berry. My berry is a Yanagisawa 880. And it's a little too short for just the way that mine's built, and that's okay. To be honest, it's a lot of weight hanging on your neck, and I prefer to use more of a harness when I'm playing Barry. So I have both on stage usually if I'm switching between them. I don't use the harness and adjust it for any of the smaller saxes. It's just not worth it. So I'll use a neck strap and have both on at the same time. Who is this strap for? Okay, so I mentioned maybe who it may not be for. Anybody that wants an upgrade. Like I said, at the time that I reached out to get these, I was in the middle of just not really being sure what was going on with why mine was slipping, and I was really, really tired of it because as a professional, it was really annoying to have to keep doing that. And just wanted to streamline, as well as like a simpler thing. This, again, folds up into virtually nothing, so if you're tight on case space, this is a lifesaver. You can fit it in your bell, and it won't do anything to it. Super, super road tough. Again, this one I've used, like I said, on about 5 or 6 shows. It hasn't yellowed at all, or hardly any, and I'm excited to use it a lot more. Anybody who plays any of the smaller saxes, a pit musician, this would be huge for a pit musician, especially having to switch between bassoon and like another saxophone. Being able to have one strap that does both instead of having to undo a seat strap and then flip to a tenor. You don't have time for that. I didn't play any of these at the last musical gig I did in January or so. I was playing mostly bari sax and clarinets. But I will say that flipping between these has been just so easy. In a pit situation, that strap could be a lifesaver. Having to switch between multiple kinds of saxes and potentially a bassoon, having that weird double reed niche thing, super, super clutch. So that's it. I really hope something that I've said here has been useful in maybe helping you decide whether this is the next strap for you or not. But I wanted to give my honest opinion, and my honest opinion is I love these things. They're great. They're super easy to use. The company, in terms of customer service, passion, just overall help, have been great. Like, short of, just incredible. So I can't say enough good about Terry and Hope. Thank you both of you so much for being patient with me on giving me time to use these as well as to film this. So thank you and everybody else so much for watching. And again, I hope this helps you make an informed decision on if this is the thing for you. Thank you, and please check out some of my projects that I'm working on. I'm really, really proud of them and where they're all going in terms of their growth. So please check it out, and if you have questions, feel free to get a hold of me. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.